Lessons we never had.
Lessons we never had.
Hell.
Guys, when I heard this when I heard this topic here, the first thing that came to mind was literally sex.
I mean,
And
it's very much on the premise of don't do it. If you must do it, wear a condom, don't get pregnant.
I have heard quite a lot of women saying they don't enjoy sex. It's more of they're just doing it to please your partner, and it's a bit worrying actually.
You know, there's this thing of don't argue in front of kids. I don't particularly subscribe to that. I argue in front of kids.
Why?
Because children need to see what a healthy relationship looks like. If you make your child think in a healthy relationship there's no argument, guess what's going to happen the first time they get into an argument? Oh my God, it's a rubbish relationship. Oh, I need to get out. It's about learning how to make money. What we don't get taught is how to keep the money.
Exactly.
How do you grow your money? This is what I mean. You can have the skills but not have the time. You can also have the time and not have the skills. If you have the time, that's good, because time is the one currency we don't all have enough of.
Of course.
You can go and learn that skill if you want. But if you're doing something because you believe, oh, if I do X, I'm going to be a great wife, I'm going to be a great mother, to what end? Because eventually you're going to start running on empty. Because a lot of people listen, but they don't hear what the other person's saying.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that.
Oh,
Wow. Sorry, I just beefed it. A lot of people listen, but they don't hear.
Welcome back to the Gift in the Future podcast, where we make decisions today to empower our tomorrow. I'm your host, Mary.
And I'm Crystal.
So last week we discussed redefining privilege. What have we got in store today, Crystal?
I mean, before we get into that, Mary, how's your week been?
Oh, well, thank you for asking. I actually had a good week, actually. Not too stressed. And that means a lot.
It's true.
So, yeah,
It's true.
it's a good week. How was yours?
Do we have 10 years to
no,
talk
no.
about it? Or?
Just say yes, good, no, bad.
Oh my God. No, my week has been interesting. I mean, I think every day that I just keep learning a lot, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Not just about work, like just about myself, just knowing myself.
That's good.
And I'm loving knowing myself. So it's a great time.
We're all here for the Crystal show, by the way. So.
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
So,
moving on swiftly.
sorry, guys. But yeah, my week has been great. But yeah, today we want to just delve right into it and start talking about. Go on, Mary. Introduce it first, please.
Lessons we never had.
Lessons we never had.
Hell.
Guys, when I heard this topic here, the first thing that came to mind was literally sex.
I mean,
And
for the rest of us, it wasn't sex.
not in an explicit way. English is not Englishin. Not in an explicit way, but more of, that was the first thing that came to mind, because I feel like so many things are easily spoken about, but then when it comes to this topic, it's definitely my lesson I've never had.
Taboo.
Because I actually haven't had that lesson properly.
Yeah.
So I'll be excited, but we can talk about that later, of course. So
Let's
start us off.
Let's start with sex, since you're so excited.
No, please. Just for our PG, or our viewers, the little kids.
Let's talk
ease
about it,
them
and then
in
they can
to
put
it.
the PG people in the room.
Yeah.
So sex, right? I don't know about your parents, but most parents don't really talk to their kids about sex. And if they do, it's very much on the premise of don't do it. If you must do it, wear a condom, don't get pregnant.
That's it.
I mean, that's biology 101.
Yeah. No. It's true.
But there's so much more to sex, right? So it's the keeping yourself safe. That's what your mum was saying. But there's also the, when you are in that consensual adult relationship, you know, making sure that you are not being taken for granted. You are enjoying it as much as your partner. That's really important.
Yeah.
Also knowing what pleasure feels like. I know, we all went quite there. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I have girlfriends who have said they've never had an orgasm. They've never enjoyed sex. So, yeah.
I have heard a lot of women say they don't actually enjoy sex, mostly for the men. It's for women. It's
I wonder
just
if
seen
men.
as
I wonder if there's men out there that have never enjoyed sex.
Oh, I don't think they have this any. I'm sorry. I feel like
That's another podcast.
Another topic for another day. I feel
We
like
need to get a man in
as
here.
soon
and
as they
ask.
penetrate, that's it, done.
That's it.
But yeah, I have heard quite a lot of women saying they don't enjoy sex. It's more of they're just doing it to please your partner, and it's a bit worrying actually.
I think I'm going to say something that's going to blow your mind now.
Oh gosh,
I think your first sexual encounter kind of sets the tone for everything else.
Really? Why'd you say that?
So I know someone who their first sexual encounter was forced, so it wasn't consensual, but with two guys.
Oh.
And then from that point on, even when she was in consensual relationships, if it was just with one guy, she didn't feel satisfied. So if you think about it, she was introduced to sex with two men.
Oh.
And if you okay, that's quite extreme. But if your first encounter with someone who is kind of like, do the deed, done, bam, I'm going home, do you then go 360 and then be like, let's hug, let's talk about it? You probably don't, right?
Yeah.
So your first encounter almost sets the tone for your future encounters.
Right.
So when you have daughters, just say to them, make sure he loves you, make sure he treats you like egg, not cooked egg, raw egg that's going to drop and
if you break, that's it done.
Because if that's her first encounter, right, she's going to hopefully enjoy it, because every time she's having sexual relations, she's going to feel like the most beautiful, most valued, most precious thing in the world. So yeah.
Wouldn't you say that the most important thing as well is you knowing yourself
your body
and what
Definitely.
I guess.
If it doesn't feel right, you tell them to stop. And it might have felt right last time. If it doesn't feel right today, you tell them to stop. Because, you know, we're women, we have hormones. Things change during the month. So what felt good mid-cycle may not feel so good now. So if it doesn't feel good,
never thought that.
you need to own it and be like, no, let's switch it up. It's not feeling so good.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to park this because I want to come back to it, but I'm leaving for the later. I'll go deeper later on. But
go deep.
So what are some of the lessons that you feel we've never had then?
So I think depending on parenting, like how you've been raised, so many things that other people might take for granted, such as, okay, so not sex, but what qualities do you look for in a partner, in a spouse? You know, I don't want to be the one always quoting research, but we know as humans, right, when female children especially, when they're raised with a father figure, it almost sets a tone for what they look for in their partners. So I speak a lot about my dad, Samuel, Samuel's daughter, and because of the way he was a dad and the way I observed him as a husband, it meant that I didn't fall for nonsense. I didn't put up with nonsense. Even when I was dating, I didn't go into my first relationship thinking, yep, that's it, we're going to set a date, right? But I knew what nonsense looks like because it wasn't what my dad would do, right? I don't have any exes that would shout at me, or so I'm not saying it's your fault if these things happen, but I'm saying if you normalize bad behavior, then you almost don't see it, and it takes other people around you to say, why does he talk to you like that? Why does he treat you like that? But it didn't happen for me and my sisters because we weren't raised like that. We knew a man just has to respect you. It's just a no-brainer, right? My dad didn't disrespect my mum. I mean, I don't know what happens behind closed doors. I'm sure relationship,
of course, arguments,
couple things happen, but
of course.
because it wasn't normalized for us, I didn't see all of that, so I didn't normalize it.
And on the flip side of things, then, if you have a dad who isn't
present,
obviously, that can also then, I guess.
Yeah, because I guess then you're looking for something that you didn't have, and what we don't have or what we've lost, sometimes we make it bigger and grander in our minds and our memory. Like, it's wonderful, it's this, and maybe not have been that wonderful. So, I mean, research always suggests when a girl is raised without a father figure, then sometimes she looks for paternal kind of relationships with men. Yeah. So she may date older men, for example. So there's a reason for everything. But the lessons we never had, that sometimes, okay, the mum might have become widowed. That can't really be helped. It's not a broken relationship. Of course, the dad is physically no longer here, right? Yeah. But then we need to think, okay, what gap has that created? And is there someone that can step up? Is there an uncle in the mix that can step up? Yeah. And sometimes there is no family member, but maybe there is a trusted friend of the family. But again, you need to be careful because you're bringing someone into your child's space who might abuse them, who might, you know, do it, whatever. Abuse isn't always sexual. I know in this thing, we always think, oh, he's going to touch her. Yeah. It may be other things. So it's about how the person speaks to your kids as well. So as much as they may not be touching them or suggesting anything untoward sexually, how do they make the child feel? Do they make the child feel good about themselves, or how does that child behave when you mention that person's name? How do they behave when the person's around? So so there's that. There's good credit. How, you know, they don't teach us in school how to apply for credit, how to maintain credit. Wait,
can I just pause actually? I want to go back to that topic again before you even move to the next one. Okay, so if you're saying lessons we've never had, right? I guess qualities that we want in a man. So what qualities are we meant to be looking for then? Because that's where then, I mean, if we've never had it, I want to know it now. Yeah, of course. So I'm learning now.
So one thing that I speak to my friends about a lot is, you know, there's this thing of don't argue in front of kids. I don't particularly subscribe to that. I argue in front of kids.
Why?
Because children need to see what a healthy relationship looks like. If you make your child think in a healthy relationship there's no argument, guess what's going to happen the first time they get into an argument? Oh my God, it's a rubbish relationship. Oh, I need to get out.
Yeah, that's true.
Let them see what conflict looks like and let them see what resolution looks like. So if in a moment something peeves me, I will make it known that I'm peeved. And then there's the apology. Sometimes there's a storming off. I hate you. I don't want to see your face. Right?
You're a monster.
But then they should also see the flip side of that.
Yeah.
A healthy relationship also looks like mommy grabbing daddy from the back and squeezing, and daddy grabbing mommy from the back and squeezing, holding hands, putting a hand on your shoulder. That's all of that stuff. But yeah, in terms of arguments, conflicts, yeah, that's all healthy stuff. You need to teach, if you think about it, your children need to have the skills and the experiences to go out into the big bad world.
Yeah, of course.
If you've only shown them pretty clouds and everything nice and sweet, they won't be. They go out and there's someone peeved off down the road, screaming obscenities that they've never heard. Like, oh, I'm gonna go back inside. It's not the day. It's not the day to come out in the world today.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Right. So, yeah, the lessons we never had. I guess we don't want to make it into something that it's not. It's just let children see all the possibilities in the world. There's a way that we raise our kids, but we almost want to raise them in a way that they see how other people may be raised. When I was growing up, there was this concept, and I don't know if it was just within my kind of circle or it's a wider concept, that the more you kind of put into raising your kids, you want them to be good social citizens and you want them to be well-rounded, the more likely that they are to become victims to children and offspring of people that didn't put that much effort into their kids. And if you think about that, I can raise my kids to be respectful. I can raise them to respect other people's opinion. I can raise them to be able to set boundaries and respect other people's boundaries. But if they are mixing with people that haven't had those lessons, I need to make sure that I've raised them in a way that whilst they're not going to then fall into those behaviors because that's become normalized or that's what their peers are doing, they know actually that's toxic. That's not something I want to because of.
Yeah, of course.
So it's not just the what, it's the why.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us, we tell people, do this, do that. Don't do this, don't do that. But we don't tell them the why.
Yeah.
Why don't you do that?
Yeah.
What does that tell others about you when you behave like that?
Yeah. And honestly, that even goes back to the sex thing again, that you can be told it's bad to have sex or it's wrong to have sex, but most of the time, no, you don't get the why.
Exactly.
And if you don't understand the why, the kids will probably still make that mistake again anyways, because no one's ever told them. All they know is that, oh, it's wrong and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, look, in most cultures where sex is this forbidden thing, the truth that parents don't want you to know is the reason they don't want you to have sex is because of safety. They don't want you to get any STIs, and they certainly don't want you to become pregnant or get someone pregnant at a young age, right? Let's be honest. It's not because you're going to have sex and die. You're not going to have sex and drop out of uni or school, right? It's because they want you to be safe. They don't want you to get into a situation that's bigger than you, right? But rather than saying to the child, sex is bad, don't have sex, explain the consequences of the choice or decision to have sex. Should you have sex, make sure you have sex and it's safe. Safe means using a condom. Even if the girl says to you, I'm on a pill, I'm on this, use a condom because the pill does not protect against STIs. That's a conversation, right?
Course, yeah.
Should you, for whatever reason, get someone pregnant or get pregnant, we do not abort. You do not take yourself to a clinic by yourself. You need to talk to me. Even though I may be disappointed, I'm your parent, I will still love you. That's a conversation.
Yeah.
That means that child does not find themselves pregnant at a young age thinking, my mom is going to kill me, so I might as well kill myself, right? Because literally you're going to access a service that itself is safe. It's going to be NHS probably, right? But your mom didn't know you've just had an abortion. So she's asking to wash the dishes. You're supposed to be lying down. Then what happens? You start to bleed out.
Yeah.
She's thinking, what's going on? So it's the why. Don't do this because of. Do that because of. And that's really it.
Yeah. Okay. Now back to the pensions.
Oh, so all things finance. I think we touched on this last week.
Yeah.
It's about learning how to make money. School can teach you that. You can go to school or uni or college and learn the skills, whether it's coding or STEM subjects. You can learn the skills that are in demand today. That means that you will get paid for those skill sets.
Yeah.
That's a given. What we don't get taught is how to keep the money.
Exactly.
How do you grow your money?
Exactly.
So I remember saying you could earn 30,000, 60,000, 90,000. Keep multiplying it each time, whatever. You won't feel any richer or any more comfortable. It won't give you a better quality of life if you don't know how to manage it, right?
Exactly.
So society doesn't naturally teach young people that. Your parents will say, save. What does saving look like?
Exactly.
Right? Most parents
What
would be
does it
like,
mean?
don't spend all your money.
Yeah, save.
Save. What does saving look? Saving there is a science to saving, right? Some people quote, save X percentage, spend X percentage on your needs and X percentage on your wants. That again, it's good because it's a framework. But what good looks like for you? For example, I may be in a situation where I'm living in my parents' house. I'm not paying any rent. So rather than saving, say, 30%, perhaps 50% is more sensible for me because I don't have any outgoings, right? So you need to always be careful with taking a framework and just applying it because that framework is probably very, very generalized. It's probably designed for people who pay rent, who have transportation costs. So you need to say to yourself, okay, how realistic is this for us?
Yeah.
If something is realistic, you're more likely to stick with it.
Yeah.
If it's not realistic, you do it for a month or 2 months, you think, I literally have no life. I can't eat. I'm just from work to home, from home to work. You're not going to keep it. It's not sustainable. So it's telling and showing your children how to save. What does saving look like? If I give you £100 or your uncle gives you £100, the first thing, another lesson is when I was growing up, in the African cultures, adults will come to your house and they will give you money, right? Your parents may not be there, but we were taught, whether I'm there or not, if X gives you money, you come and show me and you tell me, Uncle X or Auntie X gave me this
amount.
money.
Yeah.
Your parents are not, my parents didn't take the money from us.
Oh, my parents did.
But they would call the person to say, Mary mentioned you gave her.
Yeah.
And my dad is funny because he would say, Mary mentioned you gave her £100. Because then the person would be like, I gave Mary £150. Was not £100, right? So he's tested, am I honest, right?
Yeah, of course.
But then that person then thinks, that's a really good setup because the parents weren't there. That means the child told the parents for the parents to now thank
them, of course.
By doing that, my parents have taught me gratitude. If someone does something for you, whether it's giving you money, giving you your time, you thank them, right? So I'm thanking them. But then because I know that my parents know that I've got this £100 or £150, it's now, okay, so what are you planning to do with this £100 or £150? My dad always just asks, what's the plans for this money? And then he just leaves it to me. So the first few times, well, there's this Nike Air Jordan or whatever. I've had my eyes on them. You said you weren't going to buy it. So now I got the money. The first few times they let you do that. Then the third time be like, okay, that's just foolishness. The last few money you got, we just left you. But if you keep going like this, you're never going to have any savings. So what happens when I'm not here and you need to take a bus or take a train and you literally don't have £1.20 on you? That's not cool. What do you need? Whether it's a bag or shoes or trainers, is it a need or is it a want? Because a need is something that you should service as soon as, if not immediately. A want is something that you should save for.
Exactly.
If you want it that badly, you should be able to say, I'm going to sacrifice X because I want this.
Yeah.
That's a want. Explain what a need and a want is to your children, right?
Yeah.
And then save for the big things. I want to buy a house or I need to buy a house. You're not going to get £100 from your uncle and buy a house, right? That's a big thing. So even savings, you need to know different savings pots.
Yeah.
Don't just have one big saving. Oh, that's my house fund. I want to buy a house. It's going to be £1 million. Well, for that, you're going to need at least, say, £400,000 of a... How realistic is that?
Yeah.
But while you're saving for that, and you should, you probably want a fund when you go on holiday.
Yeah, of course.
So if you're putting, say, £1,000 into your house fund, but you've got 1,500 to save, maybe 300 of that goes into your fund. Maybe the 100 or 200 is like my going out, getting my nails done, getting my highs, my eyelashes, looking cute. But again, because you don't feel like you're neglecting your needs or you're sacrificing too much, it's fun for you. I actually look forward to it. I get paid. I know all the bills get paid. I know that this money is going there, that one's going, and it feels good. I know no one's coming knocking on my door because that's not being paid. Everything that needs to be paid is being paid, but I know I've also saved my pension that already came out of my salary. My savings have gone out. Now all this money left, it's for me to enjoy.
Love that.
Because everything that needs to be done has been done.
Yeah.
And that's a real, it's a gift almost to be able to say to a young person, this is what good looks like. And I think just in terms of a framework for life, It's when we don't show people what good looks like. We allow them to make it up with no points of reference.
No.
And then we think, oh, you're so stupid. How did you get that wrong? Well, no, they're not stupid. You just didn't give them a reference
tell them,
for what good looks like.
And sometimes they don't even know themselves, to be fair.
They've never been around other people that know.
Exactly.
So that's a real thing
if
too.
they don't know, how are they meant to be telling us how to do it as well? So
exactly.
It's so scary. You know, anytime I deep, I'm like, wow, we don't know a lot. And
There's a lot.
Our parents also don't know much because, again, they
can only teach what you know.
Exactly. They haven't had people teach them that. So how would they teach us too?
One thing that always strikes me is, especially where you have cultures where communities are very close, toxic behaviours. Not only are they permitted, but they're permitted because nobody knows that actually that's toxic.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you have a situation where we have a family wedding or whatever gathering, and there's this person that's struggling with their weight, and every time the aunties think it's acceptable to say, oh, you're still looking a bit rotund. And we all laugh about it.
Oh God, why? Why do you think of that?
I mean, but you know what I mean? But we all think, that's my fat cousin. Okay, the first time it's probably okay. But if that becomes a running joke, it just needs an adult to say, all right, that's actually not funny now. That uncle that calls your young siblings or your daughters or your nieces my young wife, that's toxic.
Oh, I've heard that.
There's so many things that our parents didn't know are not acceptable. But my point is, if we don't educate ourselves, all we do is those circles, they just keep going around and just keeps repeating, and it gets worse because now they didn't have social media, so now we've got social media. So the things that you did that no one heard, now it's been done. Everyone hears, and it's like, oh my God, like why is that happening? So
exactly. And to be fair, the other way around as well is no one knew anything. Now with social media, someone can actually spread lies or spread what they believe in, and everyone else will follow that as well, not realizing that it's actually toxic as well. So that is very scary.
And I think the undercurrent for me is sometimes because we wanted to be respected as adults, as parents, we wanted to almost create this fear, like, I'm your mom, I'm your dad. When I open the door, you should be shaking, right? We've all grown up with people like that. Their kids, literally, the sound of their name, daddy's car is parking, like, yeah.
It's true, like, let's hide it. Everything everywhere,
that's not cool, because what that then means is when that child falls into difficulties, they're not going to come to you.
You don't feel comfortable going to dad, no?
If they let's just think something, social media, right? Your child is being blackmailed. I've got your nudes or whatever it is. I'm going to post it. Your child should think. If that happened to my child, I would like to think the first thing they'll do is come to me and say, Mum, this person, look at what I've just received. I'll be like, don't worry, you leave it. Don't worry, babe. You're going to have some hot chocolate. Leave this fool with me. I will deal with it. You see what I mean? Because your child is then going to think, okay, let me do what the person is telling me to do because I don't want them to do that thing. But all it needed is an adult to interject and say, no, the last thing you do is if someone's blackmailing you, you give them what you want. Because now what you've shown them is you've got the control. No, the thing that they want to release, don't worry, I will release it myself. And we will make it go viral.
Oh my God.
That's true.
I mean, that's Kim Kardashian anyways. Like, she became famous.
But you see what I mean? If you take control and you kind of pull the rug from under that situation, the child learns to trust you again more. They learn to confide in you more. But actually, you've just completely diffused what could have gotten very messy.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's say they're in the same school. So that blackmailer now wants to go to school and say, oh yeah, I had that person's name. They're like, yeah, that's old news. We saw that yesterday on TikTok.
And
And that's the worst place it can play out, right? Because they are physically in that environment. So the people on the internet, they don't know them. So the people at school aren't getting to them. The people you can turn off comments. You can kind of shield yourself from all that nonsense. So yeah,
that's a very good point you made, especially with trusting your parents.
I
think again, when I say they, I don't want to generalize.
Yeah.
From the parents that I've heard of and that I know, they kind of like created some sort of fear in the kids that they're so scared to go to them about something.
If I'm here, you're there.
Yeah.
And if you're there, when I talk to you,
you listen. Yeah, literally. That's
I want to see you nod. Only nod.
Give me eye contact.
No, don't give me eye contact.
No, we don't.
Don't give me eye contact because that means you're rude.
No, I get that. So that is such a great point that you just made now. Not letting your kids fear you. Them feeling comfortable to come to you. Yeah, but respect doesn't mean fear.
Yeah, that's the thing. Respect is a balance, right?
Yeah.
Respect means when you talk to me, So even now, like with my mum, I'm obviously a grown woman. My mum will sometimes give me advice, and I'll say to her, "Thanks, mum. I'll take it under advisement because it's just advice.
Yeah.
I need to now think about what you've said and see how does it fit with my lifestyle and what my setup is, because your advice is limited to your knowledge of a situation.
Exactly.
I may not have told you 100%, but it's also limited to your experience.
I mean, sorry to cut you off, but
That's okay.
Can we just talk about parents now? Yeah. No. Let's just
own it with your chest when you say that.
Let's talk about moms who feel the need to make their daughters basically become I don't want to say submissive, but like when they're married, you have to be cooking, you have to be cleaning. If you don't do that, your husband's gonna divorce you. So then they bring the kids up to do all of these things, forgetting the other lessons you have to teach them. But what is that part of your lessons that you've never had then? Because shouldn't we be? Yeah,
but remember what I said. You can only give what you have.
It's true though. That's what they've been taught.
So if that's all your mum or my mum has been taught, that's really all they've got. So it's almost that's where you want to have a relationship, because a relationship should be two ways, right? Yeah. So as your mum is saying, Crystal, so you can't cook. Crystal, you'll not get married or you'd be like, Mum, you do realize that marriage, a modern day marriage is a partnership.
Yeah.
My husband or my partner needs to feel that I'm bringing something to the table.
Yeah.
We can get takeout. We can get someone to cook.
Yeah.
We can get someone to clean.
Yeah.
He needs someone, if he's trying to scale a business, he comes home and he's telling me and I'm like, oh, babe, I know this person. This contact might be able to help you. Actually, I've got this idea. That's what he wants. He might want someone who cooks, don't get me wrong. But maybe you can cook, but you're just too tired to cook.
Yeah.
Or maybe you work too late.
Yeah.
So these what I mean. You can have the skills, but not have the time.
Exactly.
You can also have the time and not have the skills. If you have the time, that's good, because time is the one currency we don't all have enough of.
Of course.
You can go and learn that skill if you want. But if you're doing something because you believe, oh, if I do X, I'm going to be a great wife, I'm going to be a great mother, to what end? Because eventually you're going to start running on empty.
And also to our ladies out there who just think physical appearance, putting looks on physical appearance and not actually I mean gaining other skills and then losing important. Their husband.
Let me tell you something. The thing with the male gender, generally, again, not everyone, the more money he has, the more connection he has, everything then from that point on is about status. So if he has money, if he's got the things that you think, that's the kind of bachelor I want, right? He's probably going to want a woman that helps to cement that status. He's going to want a woman that looks a certain way physically, but is he going to marry you? This is what I mean. You can be beautiful and you're good arm candy. He's going to take you to all the clubs. He's going to take you to, he wants to be seen with you.
Yeah, of course.
Because it tells people, this is what's this
high class
can get, right? But does he marry you just because you've got a banging body and a beautiful face? Don't get me wrong, if you've got a banging body, a beautiful face, and you bring the commerciality, you know the connection, you know how to support in different ways, probably he'll marry you. And your looks did help. I'm not here trying to, there's some very beautiful ladies out there, you'd be like, wow.
God spent more time creating
God paused everything. And
let's take an hour on
this one. Let's just take an hour on this one and just perfect this masterpiece. There are some beautiful women and you're like, but in your head, I can't get good men. There's no good men out there. Oh, come on. There are good men. Just like men can't turn around and tell me there's no good women. I know good women. Girls can't turn around and tell me there's no good men. I know lots of good men. I know lots of them that are single. Some of them are my husband's friend, my brother's friends. And I'm like, why are you still single? And they're like, the streets aren't smiling. I'm like, it's true. And as I'm hearing it from the men, I'm hearing it from the women. So it's not that there aren't good spousal options out there. It's A, what are you looking for? And B, where are you looking?
Okay.
Where are you looking?
And it's true. Where are you looking?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at you now. I'm joking.
Don't look at me. I'm spoken for. Don't.
I'm joking. No, but it's such a deep topic for me personally, because I feel like with our generation now, when we look on social media, we see how girls look, their hair, makeup, all these expensive stuff. Like you grow to believe that that's all that matters.
Yeah.
And that's what would get a man to like you, because that's what you're seeing on social media, right? You're seeing this very good looking guy with a very good looking woman. So you think it's all about the physical.
But it depends, what do you want? And what I mean by that is, do you want to be a housewife? Do you want to be someone's arm candy? Because if that's what you want, for example, I read somewhere, I think it was a Metro or something, where they asked, I can't remember what year, say primary school kids, what they wanted to be, and they were shocked that a lot of them were saying social media influencer. WAG was the one that threw them. You know what?
WAG? I've never even heard of that. I'm so sorry. I live under a rock.
WAG is wives and girlfriends, so it was really popular like in the early 2000s, like Beckhams and all that stuff. So it's like you are known for being somebody else's spouse, basically.
Oh, that's so awkward.
But if that's a thing, if that's what you want to be, then obviously you need to put your effort into being that. So if you want to be a significant person's AN other, then yes, you will have to look a certain way, because he's going to be looking for someone who helps cement his status, like I said, right? But if you're saying, oh, I want to rule the world, I want to own these streets, I want to control every £1 or every 10p of the pound that is spent in, that's a completely different skill set. Guess what? At the boardroom, I'm guessing not everyone's looking like they just walked off GQ. Because they're not there for their looks. They're there for what they bring, right? Yeah. So that's why I'm asking. It depends what you want to be.
Okay, that's a very good answer, actually.
I rehearsed that one.
Wow, it's okay.
I sneaked at what you might possibly ask me.
No, that's a very good point. But don't you think, though, that at the stage that we're in now, or I'm in my early mid-20s.
Oh, here we go.
Not saying my age.
Here we go.
Mid-20s, I'm a grown independent woman.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. Yeah.
But
you're grown.
Of course I'm grown.
You're grown.
But don't you believe that also it's the knowledge gap that we spoke about last week, but having that knowledge that is honestly not just about our physical appearance as well. Don't get me wrong, that's
important. I mean, you need to stay healthy. I think staying healthy should be the
way more important.
So when I say staying healthy, yes, we know you shouldn't allow yourself to get too rotund, as I said before, because then that comes with real health risks like diabetes, right? Yeah. So there's, exercises, sports that you do you eat sensibly, eat well, taste different things, but don't eat like you're about to die. Eat like you're still gonna have another meal, right?
Yeah.
So keeping healthy. And then if I'm thinking about keeping healthy, so right now the obsession is a big round derriere, If you're not naturally given that, if you have it, I mean, great. If you don't have it, like me, am I going to choose to go under a knife for something that's not a necessary procedure? To what end? So that when I walk, men will walk into lampposts thinking,
wow. She's got that bunda. I'm joking.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. To what end?
Yeah.
If that's what I'm trying to attract, then I'm going to put my life at risk, because I understand that's like the most dangerous procedure you can have.
Oh, I didn't even know.
Post-op, it's the most, because you can bleed out, things just go wrong. So if I'm choosing to put myself through that to get head turns and stares, okay. But am I healthy? When was the last, I always ask people, when was the last time you did a full body MOT? Again, most companies with a really good benefits package, they'll do something called an annual, it's not MOT, but annual health check. So where I was previously, we did it with Bupa. I think the way they did it, if you were under 50, it was every 2 years. If you were over 50 and above, it was every year. But then because they had the health cash plan through Simply Health, that covered, say, £500 anyway. So if I chose to do it every year. So I would go every year. So once they would pay for it, the next year I would pay for it and then claim back my £500 from Simply Health anyway. So let's say it costs £600. For the cost of £100 a year, they take blood test, they do breast health check to make sure there's no cancer, I get a cervical smear, everything pretty much. I get a report that tells me my risk of diabetes, heart issues, all of that stuff. So if someone's got thousands to go under the knife or whatever, okay, I'll say, okay, when was the last time you got a full health check? How do you know how healthy your liver, your heart, all of that stuff is? If you can answer me, then cool, go on. You're in touch with your body. But if you can't answer, then it's like your priorities are a bit misplaced.
Yeah. Okay. Any more lessons we've never learned? Any more lessons we've never
So
had,
I think
actually?
we touched on the toxic. Yeah. I think parents have a real role to play in that. Sometimes I see young relationships, like friendships. I'm talking like primary school, and even at that age, like in the school playground, I'm overhearing conversations. I'm like, that's toxic.
Really?
So it's things like, oh, but your hair's not long, like X person's hair. Oh, but my mummy says she's gonna put extensions in my hair next week, and my hair's gonna be long. Like,
okay,
you're literally 6, Why are we talking? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not the fact that you said, but your hair's not long.
Yeah.
It's the fact that that child now interprets it as, okay, but next week when my mum puts extensions in my hair would then be long and then I'll be long.
That's the problem.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if it was, oh, you have short hair and I have long hair, leave it there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's little things like, when, they say to a young boy, oh, stop crying like a girl.
Yeah.
Or you say to a girl, oh, don't be such a whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? Mm-hmm. If the child is feeling X-ray, you need to validate those. So it seems like you're upset. Mm-hmm. Why are you upset? Mm-hmm. Tell me why you're upset. Or you don't want to talk about it now? Come to mummy or come to auntie when you want to. That's what healthy looks like.
Yeah. Healthy
looks like, if a child is having a tantrum, when mine were young, if you have a tantrum in the middle of Westfield, guess what? I'm that parent that would just be like, okay, all right.
Are you done?
I'm hoping that in 5 minutes
it'll be calmed down. Yeah.
Because I'm going to let you have that tantrum. Does that make me a bad? I make sure you're safe. No one's stepping on you. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to drag you and then you're kicking, you're screaming. Yeah. So you want to have a tantrum, have a tantrum. You're going to be safe when you're finished. And the funny thing is, the last time it happened with my son, he had a tantrum. I think it was literally in front of Waitrose in Westfield. He had his tantrum and then he got up. He's like, Mommy, let's go now. It was just the funniest thing. Okay, you're done. But that was literally the last tantrum because I think he'd done it twice or once before.
Yeah.
At that point he thought, this isn't working. So he's tried, he now thought, okay, time to employ other tactics. But that's the thing. Whatever you're feeling, a healthy relationship looks like, whatever I'm feeling, I should feel safe and comfortable to talk about what I'm feeling. Yeah. Doesn't mean that what I'm feeling is actual fact.
Exactly.
I may be feeling like, you don't love me. Crystal, you don't love me because every time I call you don't pick up the phone, Crystal. Why don't you pick up the phone when I call you, right? But maybe you're dealing with an elderly person at home or whatever and you're like, Mary, I'm so sorry you feel like that. But the reason I've not been picking up is because I've been at the hospital with my aunt.
Yeah. Oh, and then you're like,
I should feel free to say that to you.
Yeah.
You hear me, you understand where I'm coming from. Then you say, okay, I'm sorry that you feel that way. However, what you didn't know and what I didn't want to burden you with is the fact that X has been happening.
I think most of the time is the other way around, whereby someone can speak about the way they're feeling, but then the other person will basically just
rubbish
shut it down. That's it.
Again, we should learn that when we're raising kids. So when two kids are fighting, I actually quite like when you watch kids fight. This is not an abuse situation, but when you watch them and they really go for each other and they know the weak points. You observe and then you're like, okay, all right, time out. So what did we learn in that round? Because because the thing is, you learn so much when you see the way kids get really violent sometimes. They really get the cat claws out, and then 5 minutes later you feel like an idiot because you've interjected and then they've just sorted themselves out. You're like, why did I even get involved? You people have obviously sorted it out. Yeah. If we could kind of time freeze that and take it into adulthood, we can have disagreements. Doesn't mean that we're falling out.
It's over,
Have disagreements, have differences of opinion, and guess what? Shake it off.
I mean, we're all different people anyways.
With me, you've probably seen it. I can disagree with you even very passionately, but that's just on whatever the subject matter is. We'll get on a call tomorrow and be like, hi, how are you? Because I'm like, so you might be feeling a which way, but she was literally...
Yeah, you're angry.
When you come and you're like, oh, I thought you were upset with me. I'm like, for what? Because we talked about a thing. Yeah. It wasn't, to me, it was never about you. It was a thing that we discussed. I made my feelings known. You made your feelings known. That's adult. We moved on. So we need to teach young people, have differences of opinion, respect differences of opinion. We can agree to disagree. Okay, I see that I'm not going to be able to change your mind on this. I respect that. We'll have to agree to disagree.
Yeah, and also not forcing your opinions on others, definitely. That one is such a big one. A lot of people like to do that.
I feel like that just smacks in the face of abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my point has to be right. Your point must be wrong. You must be stupid.
Everyone's opinion is different. Yeah. We all have our own opinions.
And it's informed, right? Your opinions are informed of your background, your context, your experiences. So who am I to come in and say, I can tell you what I think. I might even be able to support it with fact. But at the end of the day, I can't make you
force anyone. You actually can't.
Nope.
And that's what is funny as well, because at the end of the day, you can literally teach. You can bring your child up, right? But when, for example, they go off to uni, you're not there to even see what they do.
And that's when you really know.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
When your kids are not with you, what do people say about your kids?
That's the real.
I think that's the real. Not, oh my God, she looks so cute. Oh, your kid is so cute. They don't talk. They're literally like butter wouldn't melt.
No, Mary, why'd you do that voice?
And then when I'm not there, the kid is running riot and just dragging everything like, oh. But it's when you're not there, like that's when.
That's mostly with African parents and their kids. We're so scared of our parents that sometimes you don't
just behave.
You're not yourself. You feel like you have to do this way or you have to be this way. But then when they're not there, there's so many people. Oh wow, uni was such an eye opener because you now see how people
really are,
how they are.
Yeah.
They're literally doing the craziest things, going to places that
if you felt comfortable to show your parents that, you wouldn't get out of control because they'll be able to see it, they'll be observe it, and then they'll be able to call you to order. Be like, so I sense that between the hours of 12 p.m. and 6, you're running high on energy. What I would suggest is when you're high on energy, careful you don't bump your head. Your bride price will go down, I think. Don't hurt yourself.
I'm always saying that.
And you talk a lot, so you might want to tone it down because when you talk a lot, you say things that you don't mean.
You don't mean.
But it's what I mean, because you've observed it, you can actually comment on it. But sometimes we're in denial. Oh no, my child is perfect. Oh no, my child.
Yeah. Oh, my friend told me stories actually about how she was in a she was in a car with her mom, and this was at night, and her mom was looking at people like queuing up in the clubs, and she's like, "Look at all these children," and then she was literally like, "This is gonna be me tonight. You just don't know." And
she's like, "Mom,
I'm gonna be one of these people."
The thing is, I don't even queue. They know me so well. They just say, "Oh yeah."
The bouncers just opened the door for me.
Literally.
So she literally told her mom like, "Be careful what you're saying about other people's kids because your children actually you don't know what they're doing." So you need to be careful. And most of them do not know us. Most of our parents don't know us.
That's it.
They actually don't. They don't take the time to get to know us.
I think if they did, they'd probably be scared of what they see.
I know.
They'd be like, sorry, who is this person? I did not raise this.
This is not my daughter.
This is not my child.
Yeah. And I feel like, honestly, the fact that they work so much or they're so focused on money. Most of the time, I have to work hard to make money. I have to work hard to make money. And I know that's something we're probably going to touch on.
That is something
but
we're going to touch on.
Literally working hard, working smart and not hard. And they just work so hard. You know, that's another topic. I'm excited for that one. But they work so hard that it's all about money. Most of the time, they don't have time for the kids.
No.
They're not even home.
They
out and about.
They don't see what the child or children have become. They don't see abuse.
That's
literally right under their nose.
Yeah.
They don't see where there's mental health issues developing right under their nose.
No.
And it's only when services become involved, whether that's a police or social services or mental health services that they're like, and then it's like, oh my God, how did this happen? And then it's always, who have you been walking with?
Who are your friends?
Who is the influence? Like, nah, this is not influence. This is your child.
It's a spiritual thing. Let's take you the pastor to delivery.
Nah, it's not. Like, it's not even any of that. It's your child.
Yeah.
It's just not the child that you've taken time to know.
Yeah, and I think most of the time it gets so bad that so many people that have actually committed suicide, the parents would never thought they were ever going through anything. They see their children and they're happy, bubbly, but you don't know how. Because
we don't permit. Sometimes because of how we are and the way we raise children and the way we're raised, we don't permit people to be who they truly are.
Yeah.
So where I like to normalize, just say how you feel. Doesn't matter. Just say, sometimes like I'm like, just say it as it comes. You're like, I'm like, don't find the words. Literally just say it as it comes.
Yeah.
A lot of people can't deal with that because they think so for example, if you said to me, Mary, I'm having a really crappy day. I'm not enjoying this job. You're literally saying I'm not enjoying this job. But some people would hear that, oh, Mary, you're a really crappy manager.
Yeah.
I hate your guts. Yeah. But you literally did not say that. You're like, I'm having a really crappy day and I'm not enjoying this job. But a lot of people, when they get feedback, they A, internalize, and B, they make it about them. It's like, literally, it's not about you. Just calm down. Be calming down.
Yeah, exactly.
The person is telling you how they are feeling.
Yeah.
It's not about you.
But then that's the thing. Don't you think that makes us closer? Because if this is what you've experienced, right? Someone else, you went to someone, opened up or said something, and the way they treated you or the way they took that information now, it became a very negative thing. So I would not trust people now.
I won't trust you with another bigger issue.
Or even anyone else, because I would think this is how everyone else would think. And it really keeps you in the show. And
that's how people die in silence. Yeah. Whether there is death, actual death involved, or you just kind of retreat into a shell because you think no one understands. Yeah. No one's going to get me. Yeah. And whatever it is, it can be something as mundane as, I don't want to do that course. My parents are going to kill me, to, oh, I'm going to marry a boyfriend from another tribe or another culture or another caste, whatever it is. The fact that you didn't think you could say that, and then you hear that people have become estranged from their parent family. I'm like, how did you get to that point?
Yeah.
All it took was, you need the two people involved and one level-headed person is going to be like, okay, mommy, shush. Yeah. Child is talking. Okay, child, shush. Mommy's talking. Literally, you want someone who's not going to come with emotion. Just tell the two people when they need to shut up and when they need to listen.
Yeah.
And when they need to hear. Because a lot of people listen, but they don't hear what the other person's saying.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow. Sorry, I just beefed it. A lot of people listen, but they don't hear.
we do a lot of listening. We're told active listening, but did you hear what I said to you?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about you.
I can't lie, it's true.
I did not even mention your
No,
name.
Mary.
Your name did not come out of my lips. How have you made this about? And
Honestly,
I get that literally all the time.
This might sound so horrible, but sometimes someone will be speaking to me. I'm nodding like, yeah. Honestly,
and then
it's
2
not,
minutes later,
my own mind is somewhere else. I'm like,
ask me what they said.
I'm like,
and that's why I was saying the last session, when I was saying sometimes we think people are seeing more than they're not. Literally, they don't. If you ask, oh, what was Crystal talking about? They're like, I don't know. And they're not being disrespectful, but they've got a thousand thoughts going on, and you're thinking, oh my God, he was looking down on me because he thought my skirt was too short. If I knew CEO was coming up today, I don't want long skirts
dragging on the floor.
CEO did not even notice you were wearing a skirt. He thought you were wearing trousers. It's true. The man has got so many things in his mind that he can't talk to you about because he needs to take it to board first and whatever.
Yeah.
But you're thinking, oh God, the reason wasn't talking to me or talking much because I don't look very good. So, I don't look very formal.
Honestly, we just need to work on ourselves. That's what it is. Because
all
that's
you're
the problem
responsible
then.
for in life is you.
What can you control?
Exactly. And any minors under your care. That's literally all you're responsible for.
Yeah.
And once those minors start to have a mind of their own and they become accountable in law, you're no longer responsible.
Yeah.
You can support, but you're no longer responsible.
Yeah. And I've heard a lot about that as well. You're not responsible for the way someone acts, but you're responsible for the way you act and you react as well.
Exactly.
And that is such key. Wow.
It is.
Boy, anyways, I want to go quickly back to the savings and investments as well and stuff. What are some of the lessons there then for future generations coming up? This is Gift in the Future. We have to give them something. We could end this session.
I think for me, it's make money, but then make your money work for you.
Great.
And what I mean by that is your salary is almost static for a year until you get your salary review, whether that's mid-year or at the end of the year, unless you change jobs. You probably at the beginning of each year, you know what you're working with. So you then need to think, okay, how do I feel like I've made more money? So unless you're going to have a side hustle or do something else, which may not be realistic for you, you then need to say, okay, if I know that I'm going to always have 1,500 after I've paid all my essential bills, do I need to cut down anywhere? And I say, do I need to? Because sometimes you don't need to. If you're already quite conservative in how you spend, you're not clubbing, you're not flying, jet setting everywhere, what are you going to cut? You're not going to eat? You're going to drink water? No, that's not realistic. Then it's about, okay, what's my risk appetite? Are you very risk averse? Could you possibly try taking a little bit more risk because you know your returns will be slightly more? And again, that doesn't mean like you're online literally every waking hour checking. You can invest in funds. Okay. Go for a balanced portfolio. There are platforms out there. You use Plum, didn't you?
Yeah.
But there's Hargreaves Lansdown. There's so many different platforms. You put your money to work.
Oh, yes.
So you put £1,000 today. Yeah. Next month you put £1,000.
Yeah.
One day you go in to put the next month's 1,000. You're like, oh, I should have £5,000. You're like,
exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
6,000 too.
Yeah.
It's literally made 6,000 or 1,200 on top of your, and that's your money should be working for you. There's other ways like you can invest in startups. You can invest if, for example. And again, based on trust. If you know that your friend is doing something, you trust them, you think, okay, this has potential to go big. I'm not saying if they need 10,000, don't give them 10,000. I'm a great believer. If someone asks me for 10,000, even if I think it's the best business idea, I'm never going to give you 10,000. Even if I have. Where's your skin in the game? If you're so convinced that that's going to be the next best thing, where's your skin in the game? So if you're asking me for 10,000, the most I'm going to give you is 5,000. No, I'm not giving you 10. I'm not giving you 9. The most I'm going to give you is 5. And that's if you convince me. Otherwise, I'm giving you 1,000.
Yeah.
I need no risk. You've got to have something to lose.
Yeah.
Right? Again, try and put money to work in different ways and different places.
Well, we need to definitely go into that a lot more.
That's a whole
different
podcast.
Yeah, I know.
Definitely.
Yeah, because that is, I think, key. Right now, we just spend our money anyhow, most of us.
No, and we think, oh, I'm going to do 2 holidays and that's it. 2 holidays in a year. And that's great. We need to have downtime, but there's got to be more to life than that. So again, next episode, we'll be talking about
definitely
putting that money to work and saving for the future.
Well, I guess that's it for this episode then.
As always,
obviously
a pleasure, never a pain.
We're just amazing, of course. But until next week, see ya.
See ya.
Bye.